huge risk. So we can eliminate the direct RTP connections, and using the CyberArk PSMs, we can able to launch the sessions. Okay. So to prevent cyber attacks by isolating desktops from sensitive target missions. Next, control. Okay. So there will be accountability of that particular privileged account activities. So which user accessed which privileged account at what time, everything will be audited. Okay. So based on the policies that we are going to set. So again, those policies are check in, check out policy, dual control policy, one time password policy, etc. I'll discuss all these policies later in detail. Okay, so these are some of the policies available in CyberArk. So we can able to apply those policies on those particular privileged account, and we can control those sessions. Using this PSM, we can also monitor the sessions, live monitoring. Okay, so we can able to view the recordings, we can able to view the live monitoring of which user connected to which server and what he is performing on that particular server. We can track with the live monitoring. Okay. Next, yeah, this is the actual functionality. This slide is very, very important. PSM functionality. So see here, point number one, log on to PVWA. So users will connect to PVWA. So in order to connect to PVWA from the user machine to PVWA, I mean, PVWA is a web interface. Okay, it should be HTTPS connection. 443 should be enabled. So in order to launch Google Chrome, we should have this 443 connection. Okay, so from there they will hit the PVWA URL and they will log into CyberArk. Okay, second point is connect. Okay, so once they logged into PVWA, they can able to see their privileged accounts. Then they will click on connect. There will be a connect option for that particular privileged account which we have onboarded, and the users will click on connect from CyberArk. Once they clicked on connect, in the back end, fetch credential from vault. See, this is our PSM server. This is our vault server. So once they clicked on connect, in the back end, PSM connect user. Yesterday we have seen after installing the PSM, there are two users that got created, that is PSM connect user and PSM admin connect user. So PSM connect user is responsible for launching the sessions, and whereas PSM admin connect is used by auditors in order to view the live monitoring sessions. So in the back end, and also there are two users called PSM app user and gateway user. App user is responsible for internal processing, whereas a gateway user is responsible for establishing the sessions. So in the back end, this gateway user will fetch the credential from the vault, and then it will establishes connection to that particular target server, whatever the user is trying to connect. Okay, so connect using native protocols. So in order to launch sessions to their target servers from our PSM server, there should be some interfaces. Okay, so which we call it as native protocols. For example, if we want to launch, if we want to connect to any Windows server, it is connecting via RTP only. Okay, if we want to connect any Unix or Cisco devices, it is via SSH protocol, native protocol. If we are connecting any applications or websites, it should be protocol is HTTPS. So these are the interfaces. So from our CyberArk PSM server, it will connect, it will establishes connections to the end users to their respective target servers. Okay, and once the session is completed, it will store the PSM recordings. It will store the PSM recordings on the vault server. On the vault server, in the safe, PSM recordings safe. PSM recordings is the default safe that will be created, and all the recordings will get stored in the PSM recording safe on the vault server. Okay, and if we integrate with any third-party monitoring solutions like SIM or syslog, the logs will get forwarded to the syslog server. Okay, so this is the actual workflow of PSM. Very, very important. Okay, so users will log into PBWA. They will click on connect. In the backend, PSM will launch sessions for them. Okay, and those sessions will be audited and monitored and recorded. Next, considerations before installing PSM. Right, planning capacity. The amount of storage in the vault that is required for storing the session recordings must be planned before installation. The following considerations will help you to determine the amount of vault storage that we will need. Can someone tell me we are installing PSM? Okay, considerations before installing PSM. But here they are talking about the amount of storage in the vault that is required for storing session recordings must be planned before installation. What is the interconnection between the vault here? Any one of you? What does this statement means? Why does it is talking about vault server memory, vault server storage? I guess it is there in the statement.
Vishnu, let me try that one. So basically, once the PSM sessions are recorded, and you say that it's going to be saving it into the Vault server later, right? Is that the reason? Could that be the reason?
Yes, exactly. Absolutely correct, Pawan. So, whenever we launched PSM sessions, after the sessions got disconnected, the recordings will get stored initially on PSM server, and after a period of time, it will be uploaded to the vault automatically into the PSM recordings safe. Means we need to allocate memory on the PSM server because initially the recordings will be on the PSM server. So we need to check the planning capacity of memory considerations on the PSM server. Along with that, we need to also plan the memory allocations on the vault server because finally the recordings are getting stored on the vault server in PSM recording safe. Okay, so whenever if you are implementing PSMs in your organization, you need to prepare a plan with the storage capacity, how much we need to allocate on the vault server and on the PSM server apart from the CyberArk system requirements. Okay, right. So the following considerations will help you to determine the amount of vault storage that we will need. Consideration size of the session recordings, the number of activities performed during each session, and the session type determine the size of each recording. Typically, recordings vary from 500 to 300 KB per minute. Okay, means it depends upon the number of sessions that the users are launching. It's not only you are connecting to that particular server. Okay, so other team members are also using different servers who are securing in CyberArk. Okay, there we can also launch their sessions from the PSM. Okay, so how many PSM sessions we are launching at that particular point of time, and in the next slide we will see there is some formula given by CyberArk in order to calculate these recordings memory, how much we should allocate on the vault server. Okay, activity in your enterprise, number of concurrent sessions that PSM will create and store in the vault determine the size of your implementation. Means concurrent sessions in the sense at a time how many users are launching the PSM sessions. It depends upon how many user sessions are connecting via PSM in that particular organization. Next, recordings retention period. Retention period, the length of time that recordings will be retained according to your organization's enterprise audit policy. Retention period in the sense, so these recordings, whatever the data that is getting recorded and stored in the PSM recording safe, how many days you want to keep those recordings as per organization policy. So it is like 90 days they want to keep those recordings, or some organizations will go for 180 days they want to keep these recordings, or 360 days they want to go for storing these recordings. So after that, the recordings will get purged, means the recordings will get deleted automatically based on the audit retention period. So it's not necessary to keep the recordings for the entire lifespan of time. Okay. So based on this audit retention period policy that we are going to set, the recordings will be stored for that particular period of time. Right. So hardware required for PSM. Again, number of required PSM servers depends upon load balancing, high availability, disaster recovery, and network considerations. It depends upon how many number of concurrent sessions that needed in that specific project. So we will deploy multiple PSM servers based on their organization's requirement. Okay. So usually these PSM Cyberark recommends to be installed on a physical machine, but we can also install on a virtual machine as well. But the maximum concurrency is lower up to 40% when installing PSM on a virtual server. Okay, so in our lab we have installed on a virtual machine, virtual server, but Cyberark recommends to go with a physical server for installing Vault and PSMs. Rest of the components we can go with virtual servers. Okay. So the scale of implementation. See, this scale of for PSMs, it is not depend on the number of managed privileged accounts. I repeat again. So in order to implement CyberArk, we have seen from the CyberArk recommendations, small scale, mid scale, large scale, and very large scale implementations. So those are depends upon the number of privileged accounts that they want to manage. So if it is less than 1,000 privileged accounts, we call it as small scale. If it is 1,000 to 20,000 privileged accounts, if they want to manage, we call it as mid scale. 1,000 to 1 lakh, sorry, 20,000 to 1 lakh, it is a large scale implementation, and above 1 lakh we call it as a very large scale implementation. Okay, but for considering a PSM implementation, it's not depends upon the number of privileged accounts. It depends upon the number of sessions, which we call it as concurrent sessions. How many sessions are being launched in that particular organization? So it depends upon the number of concurrent sessions. If it is 1 to 10 concurrent sessions, we call it as small scale implementation. 11 to 50 concurrent sessions at a time the users are launching, we call it as mid-range. And if 50 to 100, 51 to 100 concurrent sessions, we call it as a large scale implementation. So based on these number of concurrent sessions, we have to follow these hardware requirements for PSM. Okay, next. So this is the formula that CyberArk is giving for calculating a storage on a PSM server and a vault server. See, PSM server formula, vault server formula. Let us see. PSM server. So required storage on PSM server, that is SPSM, required storage. Storage is equal to required storage on PSM server. How much storage is required on a PSM server is equal to C session into T session into R session recording plus extra 20 GB. So what is this C session, T session, R session? See here, maximum number of concurrent sessions, how many concurrent sessions are being launched. Okay, so that is C session, and T session, that is average length of recorded session. Okay, so it will calculate what is the average length. For example, if 10 concurrent sessions are being launched at a time by 10 users. Okay, and how long the session been carried. So we will take all the average of those 10 recorded sessions, and then we will specify that time for calculating this T session, average length of the recorded session. Next, R session. R session in the sense average bit rate of recorded video. So whether it is RDP session or whether it is SSH session, so this is the actual bit rate that is going to take whenever any particular session is being recorded. Okay, for a high quality RDP session, it is going to take 300 KB per minute. Okay, so based on this example they have given, for example, if 25 concurrent sessions are being launched at a time for a maximum for an average length of 180 minutes per session, 180 minutes per session, with a high quality RDP session 300 KB per minute plus extra 20 GB, so it needs 21.35 GB is required if at all they are launching 25 sessions, concurrent sessions simultaneously for uh, 3 hours, 3 hours with a bit rate, with a recorded rate of 300 KB per minute, high quality recording. So it needs 21 GB. This is the actual formula. Okay, you just need to remember the formula, and you need to calculate your storage accordingly during the PSM implementation. Next, sizing calculations on vault server, because finally the recordings are getting stored on vault. Okay, so storage on vault, S vault, storage on vault is equal to retention history. Okay, in the previous formula there is no retention. See here, there is no retention because on the PSMs, the recordings are not getting stored on the PSM. The recordings are getting stored on the vault. So on the vault, we need to make sure what is the retention period that we want to keep those recordings, how longer the recording should be stored. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, or 180 days, whatever, based on the organization policy. Okay, that is 90 days retention history here in this example. Next, average number of recorded sessions per day. How many sessions are being launched per day? And average length of the recorded session. Okay, so what is the average length? For example, if 10 users launch a session, we will take the average of the recorded session and we will give it as session retention. And again the same bit rate, so this is a high quality rate 300 KB per minute. So now if we calculate for 90 days, we want to keep those recordings retention, and let us say 400 sessions per day. Average number of recorded sessions is 400 sessions per day with average length of 180 minutes per session with a high quality RDP rate, RDP session plus extra 20 GB is required. Then it needs 1.96 terabyte of storage should be there on our vault server. Okay, so whenever we are implementing this vault and PSM, you need to make sure how many concurrent sessions that needs to be launched in their project. So based on that, we will calculate and we will specify the memory allocations on a vault server and on PSM server. Next, prerequisites. So we need to install remote desktop services, RDS roles. Okay, so we have a script called PSM prerequisites, and we have executed that script, and that script will automatically install RDS roles for us. Let us see. Yeah. So prerequisites, copy the necessary files to the PSM server, that is software packages to the PSM. Okay, launch the deployment scripts in the automatic installation folder. In the automatic installation folder, we have execute stage ps1. Okay, so we need to run this execute stage ps1 with the prerequisites so that it will install all the RDS roles. Okay, basic PSM functionality. Basic PSM functionality requires Windows 16. Windows 12 is outdated. It is 2016 or 19 with remote desktop services. Yes, on that particular Windows server, we should have RDS roles, and remote desktop session host requires RDS CAL licensing. This is one of the important point. So in order to launch sessions, in order to launch PSM sessions, we should have RDS CAL licenses. We should have RDS CAL licenses. So these CAL licenses will be provided by Microsoft team, and we need to configure these RDS CAL licenses on our CyberArk PSM servers because its PSM is going to launch sessions. So make sure you should have enough RDS CAL licenses on your PSM server in order to launch a sessions per user or per device. Right. Prerequisites. So as part of RDS roles with the remote app feature, so I discussed RD connection broker, RD web access, and RD session host, remote desktop session host. These are the three roles that will be installed after PSM installation. Okay. Sorry. After installing the RDS roles, so these three will get installed: RD connection broker, RD web access, and remote desktop session host. Right. So for running the prerequisite script, we have configuration file, that is prerequisites config file. In this file, we need to make sure .NET, okay, is set to yes. Install RDS, it is enabled to yes. Disable NLA, network level authentication, is set to yes. And update RDS security layer should be yes. This we have already verified during our during running our prerequisites. So we need to make sure all these are set to enable yes, and then we need to run the script with the command, run the PowerShell script with the command execute stage 1 with that prerequisites configuration file.xml path. So see here, we are in the installation automation folder, and here /execute stage 1 and the path of that configuration file, prerequisites config file. This is the prerequisites config file. Okay, and then it will install all the steps, and during the installation it will take a reboot, and after reboot again we need to log in with a domain account. Very important. So by any chance after rebooting, if you log in with a local account onto the PSM server, your installation prerequisites installation will get failed. Okay, so it should only log in with a domain account. So after rebooting and logging onto the server, you just need to wait for a while and the script will start executing. Okay, no need to open the PowerShell again. So it will automatically launch and it will start installing the RDS roles. Right. Restart the server when prompted. Login as a domain user with local admin privileges and allow the deployment process to complete. Close the PowerShell window once the script got executed successfully. Right. Manual. RTS prerequisites installation manual. So if you want to install, if you don't want to use script, if you want to use manual method, so you need to go to server manager. In server manager, add rules and features, and there is an option called remote desktop services installation, RTS installation. So there you need to select remote desktop connection broker, remote desktop web access, remote desktop session host roles in order to install RDS roles manually. Next. PSM installation. So these are the steps after executing the software of PSM. These are the steps that are involved. This is install Microsoft C++ packages will be installed. Okay, installation wizard, product license agreement, company name, and the person who is deploying the CyberArk, just a user registration purpose, and destination location. C program files a CyberArk. This is where PSM is going to be installed. And PSM recordings path, please enter the full path of the recordings where PSM recordings will be temporarily saved before being uploaded to the vault. That is C program file CyberArk PSM recordings. Okay, go ahead with that path, default path. Next, it will ask us for please enter the name of the PWA configuration safe. So this is the default safe where we can see in the vault after PWA installation. Can someone tell me what does this safe contains? PWA configuration safe contains. Yesterday we discussed, we have seen there are some important files in this configuration safe. What does PWA config safe contains? Policies.xml file. Policies.xml file. So if we open that policy.xml file, yesterday we discussed, it contains all platform settings, platform details. So Unix SSH platform base ID and platform parameters. Windows domain account, platform base ID, platform parameters. Similarly, Windows server local accounts, Windows desktop local accounts, or MS SQL, whatever the platforms that are available in CyberArk, so that will be seen under policy.xml file, which is stored in the pwwa config safe. Okay, so we need to specify the safe name as pwwa config and then click next. Vault connectivity details, we need to specify the vault server address and 1858 protocol. And next step is vault administrator account and vault password. We need to specify administrator account and password, and then the PSM will get installed. So this will take a little bit time whenever you install the PSM, because in the backend it will log into the vault and it will create all the saves, and it will prepare for the recordings to be stored on the vault, etc. Okay, so once installation is completed, take a reboot of the server and then verify the installation. The installer log is PSM install log. For PWA, it is PWA install log. For CPM, it is CPM install log. For PSM, it is PSM install log. Okay, so we need to verify these logs to review. Just review and see, make sure that there are no errors during the installation. Next, server environment. Verify server environment. On the server, on the PSM server, you should go to the installer directory and make sure these files are existing. C program file CyberArk PSM. This is where our PSM component got installed, and inside that you will have components, hardening logs, etc. Okay, so this is the configuration file, basic underscore psm.ini. This we already discussed. So it contains app user, gateway user details, PSM app user, PSM gateway details, and PSM connect account, PSM admin connect account, which we call it as PSM server ID and PSM admin server ID, and PWA configuration details, that is policy.xml file and pv configuration.xml file. And the services related to PSM are, there is only one service, that is CyberArk Privilege Session Manager service. Okay, we need to validate all these things. Next, PSM users, PSM connect and PSM admin connect. Yesterday I discussed. So these are the local users that will be created on the PSM server. This is very, very important. PSM connect is used by end users to launch a session via PSM. So means when they click on connect from CyberArk, in the backend, this user, PSM Connect user, is responsible for the end users to launch the sessions. Whereas PSM Admin Connect, it is used by auditors to monitor live sessions. So auditors in your organization, if they want to monitor your live sessions, so in the backend, PSM Admin Connect will launch sessions for them. Okay. A local group is created called PSM shadow users, a group that contains PSM shadow users. So there is also a group called PSM shadow users on the PSM server. This group will get created, and whenever user launch sessions, there will be a separate PSM session ID will be created, and that ID will be added to this group, PSM shadow users group. Next, vault environment, verifying vault environment. On the vault, we need to make sure all the safes got created. So PSM recording safe will be created dynamically when the first PSM recording is created. So since in our lab, we just installed PSM, so that's why we are not able to see this PSM recording safe. Okay. So later when we onboard some privileged accounts and when we launch PSM session, and this PSM recording safe will be created automatically on the vault server, and all the recordings will get stored under this default safe, PSM recordings safe. Right. So we have other safes as well, PSM safe, PSM live sessions, PSM unmanaged session accounts. So this PSM safe contains PSM admin, PSM server. What are these? These are PSM Connect and PSM Admin Connect. So this PSM Connect and PSM Admin Connect, we can see from PVWA, and these are stored in the safe, PSM safe, and we can also see it on the local machine, on their PSM local machine. So this is a PSM local server. Under PSM server local users, PSM Connect and Admin Connect will be created. Okay, yeah, right. PSM recording safe. So if you edit any platform, so you can see under UI workflows, there is privilege session management. Under privilege session management, you have session recorder safe. So see here, session recorder safe. So if you want to customize the PSM recordings, we can do it at platform level. At this parameter, we can add whatever the safe that we want to create. Okay, so later I will show you how to customize the recordings. Means all the sessions, whatever they are launching in your organization, will be going to PSM recordings safe. All the recordings will get stored under this safe, PSM recordings safe. But your organization, they don't want to store some of their recordings in that safe. So in that case, we can customize it. We can create a new safe for them, and we can divert those recordings to that particular safe. Okay, I'll show you later how to do that practically. Right. Members of auditors group are automatically granted permissions on all recordings safe. So auditors group, we have a default group called auditors. In the Privatar client, if you log in to Privatar client on the vault, you can able to see some auditors group. That is a default group. So that auditors group will be added to all these recorder safe, so that they can able to view the recordings. So see here, this is the auditors group. Okay, so this auditor group will be added to all the recorder safes. Next, PSM users and groups. So these are the default users and group: PSM app user, PSM gateway user, PSM app users group, PSM master group, PSM live session terminators group. So app user, sorry, app user. This user is used by PSM for internal processing, in the sense in the back end, in order to PSM to function this app user is responsible. Gateway user, it will establishes a session to the vault, a session to the user by retrieving the credentials from the vault. In the backend, when the user clicked on connect, this gateway user will establish connections to the user. Right. So PSM users credentials. This is functionality. See here, PSM connect account, PSM admin connect account. So both will use a PSM gateway session. I mean PSM gateway user. Credentials are retrieved from what? Credentials are retrieved from cred file on the PSM server, PSM gateway.ini. Okay, so whenever we users want to launch sessions or auditors want to view monitoring, this is for users, this is for auditor. This account is responsible for monitoring. This account is responsible for launching all the sessions. In the backend, gateway user will retrieve the credentials from the vault and it will establish connections to users and auditors. Okay, right. So this is the actual functionality of a PSM. PSM post installation, that is hardening. Later we will see the hardening. Okay, so this is PSM installation. So now let us move on to one more practical thing, that is Active Directory integration with CyberArk. Very, very important. We'll see how to integrate AD with CyberArk. So before that, I'll show you something. Vault server. Let me log into PVW. So Vault is running. Okay. I'll just restart the IS services. IS reset is the command for restarting the services. Okay, it stopped and restarted. Let us try one more time. Let me take a reboot of the server once. Still loading. So now we are logging with CyberArk authentication. So if I click on change authentication method, and if I want to log in with LDAP, okay, I don't have any LDAP user now because we have not integrated AD with CyberArk. Okay, so we have not integrated AD with CyberArk. Even if I try with administrator here, and okay, so it will not allow us, okay, with LDAP authentication, right? So we need to integrate AD with CyberArk, LDAP with CyberArk. So let me log into private ARC client and I'll show you some users behavior, and then we'll move on to it integration. Tools, administrative tools, users and groups. So these are all the default users and groups, right? That got created after implementing this CyberArk solution. Okay. All these are default users and groups. See here, all are in blue colored heads. Blue color, a single user, head, we call it as a user. Multiple heads, it's a group. Okay, right. So now let us create one user. So how to create a user? So right side you can see there is an option called new user. Click on user. Okay, so user name, whatever the user that you want to create, give here. Let us say I'm calling it as Bikram. Okay, username is Bikram. EPB user. And next there are some tabs called authentication. So if I go to authentication, it's a password based authentication. If I drop down here, I can see some different authentication methods as well. I'm giving password authentication. Password. Okay, I'm setting the password for this user. I will go with my default password, CyberArk1. Confirm password, CyberArk1. Okay, user must change password at next logon. Okay, I'm not giving this. Let us say password never expires. Okay, right. So I just specified the username in the general tab as Bikram. Username is Bikram. And authentication, I have set the password for that user, and that password is never expired. Just click on OK. See here, the user got created in Vault. Bikram user got created. So now let me go to PVWA and I'll try to log in with this user. CyberArk authentication. Try with BIKRAM CyberArk1. Sign in. Okay. So we logged into PVWA. As an end user, we granted him access to CyberArk and he will log in with his ID, and see here his ID is reflecting here. Till now we have accessed with CyberArk administrator account, that is Vault administrator account. So now we logged in with an user, EPV user, we call it as a Bikram here in our case. What is the difference that you observed with both the accounts, any one of you? When I log in with administrator account into PVWA, what we have seen so far, and when we log in with this new user, what we have seen so far in the PVWA. What observation did you notice with both the logins? Any one of you? We logged into PVWA. Any one of you? Any guess? No observations? Do you want me to log in with administrator account now? Yes, please. I logged in with this user, and if I log in with administrator account into PVWA, what observations that you have seen?
I think there was the user and the groups on there. Like over here, this account is only one user.
Yeah. So when we log in with the administrator account, Vault administrator account, it has a full permissions. It has a full view in the PVWA tab. In the PVWA, the left side, we can see accounts tab, policies tab, reports, applications, user provisioning, etc. But whereas when we log in with this Bikram user, he can only see the accounts tab, accounts view. Let me log in with administrator. What is this issue? Why it is? It's not responding. So I'm logging in with administrator account. Sign. User all administrator is already logged on, cannot impersonate. User administrator is already logged on, cannot impersonate. Can someone tell me why I am getting this error? Any one of you? I already discussed this point in my previous sessions. User administrator is already logged on, cannot impersonate. Where I logged on? It is stating that user administrator is already logged on, cannot impersonate. Any one of you, any guess? Let me explain you. So user administrator is already logged on. Yes, I already logged on. I logged on to the vault with Privatar client. See here in the backend, I logged in with administrator user. At a time, you cannot able to log into PVWA and to the Privatar client. Okay, you need to log off from here. Then only you can able to log into PVWA with Vault administrator account. So let me log off here. I'm closing here. Log off from Privatar. Now it got logged off. Now let me try. Okay, it got logged in. So the difference between that Bikram user and the administrator account. So administrator account have full view in the PVWA tab. If we see left side, see here, system health, you can able to, with an administrator, it has system health tab, accounts tab, policies tab, applications tab, reports tab, user provisioning tab, and administration tab. So these are all the tabs that he can able to view with administrator account. Okay. And he has some other features called add account. He can able to add account with an administrator. If you log in with add account option is there. And we can also see some PSM default users, PSM connect and admin connect accounts here. Okay. But whereas when we log in with that user, he can only able to see the accounts tab. Okay, only accounts tab. You cannot able to see all these tabs. Let us assume this user this Bikram user got a job on CyberArk. He's going to support for some project on CyberArk. So what we will do as a CyberArk admins, so we will grant him permissions for him to log into CyberArk and to do policies or whatever the configurations that he wants to do. Okay, so let me grant some permissions for him and we'll log in again and we'll see what he can able to view. Enter. Go to tools, administrative tools, users and groups. Go to that user, click on update, and here there is an option called member of. So in member of, let us say I'm going to give him permission for PVWA monitor group. This is the default group, PVWA monitor group. So I'm adding him to PVWA monitor group. Click on OK. Close. Okay. Go back to PVWA and log in with that user and see what is the observation that we can see.
I got few questions regarding the admin account and all that. Could
Yes.
I say?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
so can there be multiple admin accounts? Or let's say there's an admin group we created and we're going to have 5 individuals under the admin group. Is it possible?
Yes, it is possible. I'm going to show you that
Okay.
in a few seconds. Okay.
Okay. Now the next question is, regardless of the client tool that are going to connect to CyberArk, one ID can be only used from one connecting application, either PBWA or the private ARC client or even remote desktop, whatever the way of connection is, one ID can be utilized for one session only, cannot be changed or exchanged with another session. Is that the right statement?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So for example, if we log in with this user, one ID Bikram, so one license will be consumed in CyberArk. We call it as EPB user license. Okay, one license will be consumed with this user. You cannot exchange this license with other user. Okay.
Right, and there is maybe the audit as well. It's hard to kind of track the both the sessions with the same ID if you want to keep it for the
Yes,
sake of audit and all
yes.
that.
It's not possible. It's not possible.
Right, right. Yep. Thank you.
So Bikram.
Vishnu, I have one question. So, can we compare as a admin user and like the regular individual users like Bikram, uh,
Yes.
read and write access and then only read access?
Yes, we can compare that. So it depends upon the vault authorizations that we are going to grant in the vault.
So that user only have a read access, correct?
Yes, yes. I'll show you in terms of read access. There are some vault authorizations on the vault. I'll show you those vault authorizations. So based on those vault authorizations, so we can say that this user is having full permissions or only limited permissions on the vault on the application.
Okay. Okay, got it.
So now
Thank you.
I'm logging in with this user. Password I have given from Cyberark 1. Sign in. Okay. So which group I have granted him access now? Which group I have granted him access? Again, I am showing you. Click on update, go to member of. Which group I have granted? PVWA monitor group. Okay. So I have added him into the PVWA monitor group. Now if I log in, previously he can able to see only accounts tab. Okay. So now he can able to see policies and he can also able to see reports tab. So the important point that I want to highlight is this is one of the certification question regarding CyberArk certifications. You have to go through exam. So it's a multiple choice questions. So it is one of the question. As an auditor, if you want to grant access to the reports tab, he should be a member of which group? So answer is PVWA monitor group. Very, very important point. If an user is a part of PVWA monitor group, then only he can able to see the reports tab. Okay. So we just added him as a member of PVWA monitor group. So now he can able to see the reports tab. Okay. So now let me grant some more permissions for him. Okay, click on that user, update, member of. There is a default group called vault admins. Okay, so this is the main group. Now I am granting him vault admins. Okay, click on OK. Now just sign out and sign in, or else refresh. So what you observed? So he got add account permission, and there are some other tabs. He can able to see system health, and he is also having option for administration. Okay, configuration options. In the inside administration, he can able to perform some operations. So if he is a part of vault admins group, then he will get permission for administration tab in order to do some configurations. Okay, and he also got permission for system health. So if I click on system health, how it looks like. Server error occurred, please try again. Okay, later we'll see this. So basically this system health will contains information about how many components we installed in our environment, how many CPM, how many PVWs, how many vaults replication is happening or not from vault to DR vault, etc. It's like a dashboard. It will show us the system health here. Later we'll see why we are getting this error. So basically, if he is a part of vault admins group, he can able to see system health and administration tab, which is very important for applying configurations or in order to edit platforms or whatever the configurations that you want to do. Okay, so PVWA monitor group grants access to the reports tab. Vault admins group will grant access to the administration tab. There are some other tabs, that is applications tab. Still we can't able to see applications tab. Okay, so if I log in with administrator can also see applications. There is one tab called application, but still he is not able to see. So let us go back to here and grant him. It's not member of, it's in authorizations, audit users. Okay, I'm granting him audit users. So these are all the vault authorizations. Add saves means if I grant him this permission, then only he can able to create some saves in Cyberark. Create some saves in Cyberark. If I grant him add or update users, then he can able to update the other users, and he can able to view or he can able to update their users, members, etc. Or he can able to create new users, add new users into CyberArk. So these are all the vault authorizations. So for now, just I am giving audit users. Login again. See here, if I grant audit permissions, audit users, he got applications tab permission. Applications tab permission. Let us see what are all these tabs. Okay, for now we are fresh to this training. Okay, so you just remember, if we log into PVWA, what are all the things that we can see? What tabs that will be there in PVWA? Okay, you should be familiar with these tabs. Okay, so remember these names: system health, accounts tab, policies, applications, reports, user provisioning. Okay, so user provisioning also got added if I grant this vault admins permission. Okay, right. So now system health got reflected here. See here. So this is how system health looks like. So primary vault, so we have only one vault server now, that is 10.0.0.2 is my vault server. So we have not installed DR yet. So once we install DR, here we can also see the DR vault information, and the replication will be happening from primary vault to DR vault. Okay, since we have not installed DR, it is not showing anything. Later we'll come back and we'll deploy DR and we'll see. Next, web portal. What is this web portal? Any one of you? Active users is 1. What is this web portal? Which component it is? Which component in Cyberark?
PVW, right?
Yes, it's a PVW. PVW 1 connected, 1 active users. Let me click on this app user instance. So once we click on that, we can see 10.0.0.3 is our PVW server, 13.2 version. The app user details, PVW app user got connected. Connectivity status is connected. Okay, so I'm going back again to system health. Next, CPM. CPM 1 connected. Okay, CPM and accounts discovery 1 connected. If I click on, the default user is password manager user. It got connected. The CPM server is 10.0.0.3. Since we have installed all these 3 components on the same server, the IP address remains same. Next, PSM and PSM for SSH. PSM and PSM for SSH. PSM for SSH means PSMP. There is a component called PSMP, Privilege Session Manager Proxy, which we can also call it as PSM for SSH. Later, we will deploy that product as well, PSMP, in order to manage Linux accounts. So for now, we have not deployed PSMP. We just installed PSM. So let us see PSM1 connected. So the default user is PSM app underscore win. PSM app user. Status is connected. So this is how you need to check the system health daily basis. On daily basis, PTA we have not configured PTA yet. So if you install 2 or 3 PVWs, it will show here those PVWs with those app user names. Okay, with those app user names, PVW app user, whatever that you have named it. So similarly, how many CPMs that are there in your environment, how many PSM, PSMPs are there in your environment, etc. So if anything got disconnected, if any of your PVW is not working, it will show us in a red mark as disconnected. Okay, so you need to log into that server and you need to fix that error, why the PWA got disconnected or why the CPM got disconnected, etc. Basically, this is the system health check. We call it as system health. Right. So now this Bikram has a full permissions. So now he is a Cyberark admin. Okay, he got a job. We grant him access to all the required fields in order to do operations, in order to support on this CyberArk project. Okay, so now he has all the tab permissions. He can able to onboard accounts. He can able to do configurations in the administration tab. He can able to generate reports. He can able to apply policies. Uh, in the policies, we have different policies again. All these policies he can able to configure, etc. Now he is a full CyberArk admin. Okay, so this is how to create a user in a vault and grant him access to different tabs, different permissions. Tabs in the sense different permissions. Remember, PVWA monitor group will grant access to reports. Vault admins group will grant access to administration tab, and vault authorization, that is audit users will grant access to applications tab. Very, very important point. Okay, right. So now let us create one more user. So this time I'll call it as 1. Okay. Go to authentication tab, set a password for him. Cyberark 1. Cyberark 1. User must change password at next logon. No, I'm not. If I grant this permission, user must change password at next logon. First, I will share a password to him initially when we create this account. So when he tried to log into PBW, initially it will prompt him for a password change. Means he can able to reset the password and he can able to keep his password with him. Okay, so that is this option. User must change password at next logon. Click on OK. Right. So now I have created one more user called Bhuvan, and he is not a part of any member so far. So once he logged in, I am not granting him any permissions. Once he logged in, he can able to see only accounts tab. There is some issue. We need to fix all this. Maybe with the Chrome driver. Bhuvan, log in with this user. Okay, so he can able to see only accounts tab. He can only able to see accounts tab. There is no add account for him. There are no other reports, system health, applications, reports, administration tab, user provisioning tab. No, only he can able to see account because we have not granted him any permissions, any group memberships. Okay, let us assume this user, Bhuvan user, is from some X team within the organization. Let us say he is from Wintel team or Windows team. He want to use our CyberArk product. Okay, let us assume he is from a Wintel team, Windows team, and he want to use our CyberArk product. We will onboard his privileged accounts into CyberArk, and we will grant him access to CyberArk. And once he log into PBWA, he can able to see his privileged accounts, whatever he is having access to. So right now we have not onboarded any accounts and we have not granted him any permissions. And he will click on connect and he will connect to his service. Okay. So he is an end user who is using our CyberArk product. So we should not grant him access to the other tabs because he is an user who is using our CyberArk product. So he should not have access to administration tab. He should not have access to reports or policies, whatever maybe, because he is not a CyberArk admin who is working on the CyberArk. He is an user or a customer who is using our CyberArk product. So he should have only access to the accounts tab. Okay. Remember, observe the difference what I am trying to explain you. Previously, Bikram is the user which we assume that he got a job on CyberArk and he's working for a CyberArk support as a CyberArk admin. So he should have access to all the tabs because he is going to do some configurations. He's going to apply policies. He's going to do platform settings or whatever the policies. He's going to onboard accounts, etc. But whereas this user, he is the user who is using the CyberArk product. He wants to onboard his privileged accounts and he wants to connect to their Windows privileged accounts via CyberArk tool. So he should have only permission to the accounts tab. Okay, we should not grant him access to administration tab, policies tab, applications tab, reports tab, or system help because he is not a CyberArk admin. Okay, so similarly for all the users who are using this product in the organization, database team, Linux team, Windows team, application team, security team, network team, whatever may be, they will all have this accounts tab view. Okay, they will not have permission for the rest of the tabs. They are not going to work on CyberArk. They're just using our product and they will log into this PWA interface. They will connect to their privileged accounts from our tool. So they should have only the accounts view permission. Okay, and they should not have any permissions like add accounts or modify accounts or any other tabs. Hope I am clear. Any questions? Any questions so far? No questions? Right. Okay. So actually we want to discuss about Active Directory, right? Right. I'll stop it here for the day. We'll go ahead tomorrow and we'll see Active Directory integration. Okay. So why Active Directory is needed? Why AD integration should be done? So usually whatever we have done so far, I showed you how to create an users in private client like tools, administrative tools, users and groups. Go to new and click on the user and we have created these two users. Okay, we will not do like this actually. Okay, so we will integrate AD with CyberArk. These users will be created in Active Directory and from there the users will get imported into CyberArk automatically. So that is why we want to configure AD integration with CyberArk as an LDAP integration. So tomorrow we will look at AD integration and we'll see how the users will get imported into Vault. So this is for demo purpose. I just showed you how to create an user manually in PrivateArk client on Vault. Okay, but in an organization we have n number of users. Okay, it's not like you are coming here and creating each and every user in Vault and granting him access. This will be done directly from the Active Directory once we integrate AD with CyberArk. Right. I'll stop it here for the day and we'll continue tomorrow and we'll discuss AD integration part, which is